Hi, this is Wendy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be making this fun Christmas lights scarf. It's a fairly simple base, and then it has these rows of colorful Christmas lights put on afterwards. If you'd like to have the written pattern, it's for sale on Etsy and Ravelry and Ribbler. Or if you'd consider becoming a member, you can get the pattern for free in the community tab below. If you end up liking this video, I hope that you'll give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get started with the Christmas lights scarf. For the Christmas lights scarf, you will need some DK yarn in green. This is Gravity Fibers Olive Hue. I have some colorful sock yarn. You can use whatever colors you like for that, and a little bit of black DK yarn as well. You will need about 300 grams of the green and about 50 grams of the black and the variegated or colorful yarn. I'm using a 4.5mm hook for this DK yarn. You could make this pattern in a worsted weight yarn and use a 5 or 5.5mm hook. That would work fine as well. Just will make a little bit bigger scarf. Okay, so with my slip knot on my hook, I'm going to chain 201. And I will rejoin you when I have 201 chains. My chain is complete. The next step is to work a row of half double crochets down the chain, and I'm going to work them in the back bump. That way I get a nicer chained edge. So yarn over, go into not the first bump next to the hook, but the second one. Pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 3. That's half double crochet. Yarn over, go into the work, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 3. And do that all the way down to the end. You should have 200 half double crochets. You could make the scarf a little bit longer or shorter if you wish. I would recommend doing that in increments of 20 stitches. At the end of the row, turn and chain 1. And now we're going to work back down the half double crochets, working in the 3rd loop. Now if you've not done this before, typically you'd work under these V's on the top of your half double crochet. But we want to get a slightly different effect, and we're going to work under this loop. So when you look along the back, it looks like there's another row of V's. And we want to go in this lower loop in the back portion of these half double crochets with another row of half double crochets. And it looks like this. So yarn over, go under that stitch right there. Okay, so this back loop. Draw one up, go through 3. Same thing on the next one. So it's not the back loop of the V that you typically would do at the top, but the one behind it. And do that in each one all the way down your scarf. And the way that you'll know you're doing it right is if it looks very flat on one side, but on the other side you get a row that looks like chains going lengthwise on your scarf. So go all the way down to the end, chain 1, turn, do the same thing all the way back, 200 half double crochets, and repeat for 25 rows. When you get to 25 rows, it will look something like this. I have already started one Christmas lights row, and we'll come back to that in a moment. But I just wanted to show you how to count rows, because it can be confusing when somebody says do 25 rows and you don't know exactly what that should look like. So here on this right side, my first row, the top of it is these lengthwise chains here. They've been pushed to the front because we've worked in the back loop. So that's one. And then these other ones are the right side top of every other row. So we've got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, and 25 rows. So on this side, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lengthwise stripes like this of chains. And on the back side, there won't be one on the edges, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the middle. Okay, you can choose either side for the front, but I'm going to work on this side, and I'm going to do a Christmas lights row in the third, and I'm not counting this starting chain, but just these lengthwise chains. 1, 2, 3, so the third one, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10, 11, 12. So 3, 6, 9, and 12, 4 rows of the Christmas lights. This is where it's really handy to be able to show you on a video. Some techniques can be hard to explain in a written pattern and hard to decipher, but once you see it, you think, oh, okay, that's how it's done. So I'm going to start with my colorful yarn, leaving several inches at the end. The idea is that I'll hide those in the fringe later on, but you could work them in if you want to. And I'm going to mark where I'm going to put my Christmas lights. So on this row, the first one, I started at 20, 40, 60, and so on. So I want to stagger them. So on this row, right here, the 6th row, I'm going to count 10 from the end. 1, 2, 3. Put my marker, and then another 20. And so on down the line, every 20 after that. It's easy to lose count once you start doing the color, so I find it really helps to do stitch markers in there. Okay, so we're going to be working in the front of this lengthwise chain here, or the tops of the stitches. And I'm going to zoom in here a bit and show you what I'm doing. So you can see there's this row of crossways chains here. I'm going to put my hook underneath both sides of that chain. Pick it up and slip stitch. So pull that yarn right through the loop. Again, underneath both sides of that next one and slip stitch. Okay, each time going through, keeping your stitches even so you don't pull the scarf too tight. Underneath both sides, pick up the loop and slip stitch. Do that up to the stitch marker and including the stitch with the stitch marker. Okay, now I'm going to take the stitch marker out and form my Christmas light using the treble crochet 4 together, and it's going to attach to this row below. So if I follow my stitch down, so I'm in this one right here, and I follow it down, I want to put my next, or the bottom of my treble crochet 4 together in this stitch right here, from bottom to top. I'll put a stitch marker in there to show you. Okay, so this one where I was in, I'm going to go down, follow that stitch down, and just in front of it is the stitch where I want to put this treble crochet 4 together. You can put a marker in there like that at first just to get the hang of it. Right? You can see it's below and slightly in front. So to do the treble crochet 4 together, yarn over twice. I like to hang on to it with my finger. Go under that stitch, and take this out of here. I find it helps to fold the scarf. Draw up a loop and pull a loop through 2 twice. Don't do the last one. Leave the last one on the hook. Wrap twice again. Go into that same space. Go through 2 and 2. Wrap twice. Same space. Draw up a loop and go through 2 and 2. One more time for the fourth one. 2 and 2. You'll have 5 loops left on your hook. Pull a loop through all 5. Then find where you finished off and slip stitch into the next stitch. It's important that your yarn is not on this side when you slip stitch into the next stitch. Put it behind your hook like that. Then slip stitch until the next marker. Underneath each of these lengthwise chain looking stitches. When you get to the next stitch marker, slip stitch in that stitch. Take out the marker. Find the stitch where you want to put your bottom of your Christmas light and work those 4 treble crochets together again. First one, drop 2, or through 2 and through another 2, leaving that last one on the hook. Same thing again. Wrap twice, go through 2 and 2, wrap twice, and the fourth treble. When you have 5 left on your hook, you'll know that you draw a loop through all 5. Go back to the next stitch and slip stitch to your next marker. At the end of the row, you'll have 10 stitches left. You'll just slip stitch in those as well. So your last light will be 10 stitches from the other end of the scarf. And if it's off by 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter. So there we go. That's what the Christmas lights look like. You might want to just leave it like this. I like it with the black overlay because it makes the colors pop and it kind of looks like the wire that holds the lights. But if you wanted to, you could leave it like that. I'm going to finish this row and then I'll come back and show you how to do the black overlay. Then you'll be able to complete your next ones. So here and here. I decided to just carry on and finish the rest of the Christmas lights rows. So I have 4 of them all together. The first and third one are 20 stitches in from the right hand end, and the second and fourth one are 10 stitches in. And if your lights lean a little bit here and there because you didn't get quite the right stitch underneath, don't worry about it. It will just look more realistic. So we've got all of the lights all the way along the scarf now. For the black row, for the overlay, what we're going to do is flip the whole scarf around 180 degrees. Okay, so before the crossways rows were kind of leaning down, now they're leaning up, and we're going to work from the other end of the scarf. where we ended each of the colorful rows. So taking your black yarn and again leaving a bit for the end to work into the fringe. Make a starting loop. And this time we're going to work just into the nearest edge of the slip stitch. And you can see when you do that, it kind of hides underneath the black like that. So starting on this pink one and folding the scarf over so I can see what I'm doing. There's my first slip stitch there. I'm going to go under just the side that's closest to me. And again, pull it right through in a slip stitch. The first one is always a bit fiddly, but crochet is fiddly by nature. Okay, then under the next one and slip stitch. And so on in each one, taking care not to pull your stitches too tight. They should be similar to all your other ones. It's a little fussy, but just persevere, you'll get there. When you get to the treble crochet 4 together, just continue with your slip stitches across the top of that bobble like this. Just put one in the top of there, carry on across the top and go to the next one on the other side. Slip stitching in each one, just picking up the loop that's closer to you. Okay, so that gives you the idea, and you'll just continue like that all the way down the length of the colorful row. I'm going to do the same thing for the other two, and then I'll come back and put fringes on each end, and then the scarf will be complete. Now you may have noticed that because we're just working on the surface stitches, you can't see any of it on the back of the scarf, which is kind of neat. It's just on one side. But if you wanted to, you could add some rows of lights on the other side as well. I hope you're enjoying this project and that you'll give it a try for yourself. And there we have it. Christmas lights scarf all done. If you're not sure how to do a fringe, there's another tutorial on my channel showing you how to do that. Drop me a comment if you have any questions or if you enjoyed this pattern. And I hope that you will consider subscribing or even becoming a member. Thanks very much for joining me today, and have a super day.